Deep within the ancient woods, a tiny mouse scurried beneath the damp leaves of a towering fern. Every rustle of the wind felt like a death sentence. High above, a hawk circled in silent, lethal arcs, its golden eyes scanning for the slightest movement. From the suffocating shadows of the undergrowth, a snake let out a low, terrifying hiss, its tongue flickering like a flame. Heart pounding, the mouse darted into the safety of a hollow log, shivering as the cold dampness seeped into its fur. It knew it could not survive another hour alone. With a desperate burst of speed, it reached the clearing of the sage's hut and scratched frantically at the weathered wooden door, begging for a miracle. The heavy door creaked open, revealing the sage, whose eyes held the wisdom of centuries. He looked down at the trembling, pathetic creature and felt a wave of pity. He did not speak. He simply waved his hand through the air. A shimmering golden light erupted, wrapping around the mouse like a warm cocoon. The mouse felt its fur stretch and thicken, its delicate ears flattened against its skull, its bones cracked and reformed. In a heartbeat, the mouse was gone, replaced by a sleek, agile cat. The creature purred, feeling a newfound grace, and stepped confidently back into the emerald forest, believing its fears were finally over. But the forest is never truly safe. A pack of wild dogs suddenly burst from the thick bushes, their teeth bared and eyes wild with hunger. The cat hissed, its fur standing on end, but the sheer numbers were overwhelming. It turned and fled, racing back to the sanctuary of the hut. The sage sighed, seeing the cat cowering at his feet. He reached out and tapped the cat gently with his wooden staff. A ripple passed through the animal's body, its muscles swelling and its frame expanding. The cat's lithe form vanished, and a muscular, loyal dog stood in its place. The dog barked fiercely at the dark trees, feeling a surge of protective strength. The dog felt invincible, until a massive wolf, a shadow of pure malice, stepped slowly into the clearing. The wolf's presence was suffocating, and the dog, despite its size, felt its courage wither. It tucked its tail between its legs and sprinted back to the sage once more. The sage looked at the dog with a mixture of sadness and duty. He reached out his hand, and the air began to hum with power. The dog's body grew to a terrifying size. Bold, black stripes burned their way onto a magnificent golden coat. The transformation was complete. A massive tiger now stood before the hut. With a roar that shook the very earth, the tiger claimed the woods. The wolf fled in terror, and every creature nearby hid in silence. The tiger walked to the edge of the river, staring at its reflection in the crystal water. It saw the claws that could rend steel and the muscles that could crush bone. It saw power, and that power tasted like honey. But then, it looked back toward the small, humble hut. It thought about the sage, the only witness to its shameful past as a lowly mouse. A dark thought took root in its mind. It could not allow anyone to know its true origin. The tiger crouched low, its belly scraping the soft earth. Its tail flicked rhythmically in the dirt, a sign of the predator's focus. It crept toward the hut with lethal intent, its claws digging deep into the soil. It intended to silence the sage forever, to erase the memory of the mouse and reign as the undisputed king of the forest. It was no longer a creature of gratitude, but a monster of pride. The sage sat quietly on his stone bench, his back to the approaching beast. He did not need to turn around to feel the malice. As the tiger prepared to spring, the sage simply held up his palm. A blinding, holy light pulsed from his hand, filling the clearing. The tiger's massive body began to collapse inward. The golden fur receded, the powerful muscles shrank, and the terrifying roar died in its throat. The tiger vanished. In the middle of the grass sat a tiny, trembling mouse. The sage looked down at it, his voice calm but firm. He pointed his finger toward the deep forest. The mouse turned and vanished into the tall grass. It was small, and it was once again afraid. But it was alive. "Strength is not a coat you wear," he whispered, "but the heart that beats within."